You know exactly what you need to do, but something invisible continues blocking your path. Hours turn into days, days into months, and that goal that should change your life remains a distant ghost. While others advance, you stay trapped in an endless cycle of preparation. What you don't realize is that it's not lack of knowledge, resources, or luck. It's something much deeper, a mental prison so familiar that you don't even see it anymore. In the next few minutes, I'll show you how to unlock the force that already exists within you but has been systematically sabotaged by patterns you don't even notice. This isn't just another empty promise. It's an awakening that separates those who merely dream from those who actually achieve. Because if you don't break this pattern now, you'll continue to see your true potential slip through your fingers as life passes by. Napoleon Hill spent 25 years researching over 500 of the most successful people of his time, from Andrew Carnegie to Thomas Edison, Henry Ford to Alexander Graham Bell. What did he discover? The single most underrated habit that separates the extraordinary from the ordinary isn't what most people think. It isn't hustle, it isn't talent, it isn't even intelligence. It's something far more fundamental, something so simple, yet so powerful, that most people overlook it entirely. This habit is the invisible force that propelled ordinary individuals to extraordinary heights. And today, you're going to discover how to harness it for yourself. The question is, are you ready to look beyond the surface-level advice that keeps most people mediocre? Are you prepared to embrace the genuine secret that Napoleon Hill uncovered, the one that the masses continue to ignore? Every day, millions of people wake up with good intentions, clear goals, and genuine desire to change their lives. Yet, by nightfall, most have accomplished nothing of significance. Their ambitions remain frozen in place, perpetually on hold until tomorrow. You've felt this yourself, haven't you? That strange disconnect between what you know you should do and what you actually bring yourself to do. This isn't about laziness. This isn't about discipline. This is about something far more fundamental: the invisible barrier between knowledge and action. The most dangerous prison is the one with walls you cannot see. You're trapped not by external forces, but by internal patterns, so familiar they've become your normal, your comfortable cage. Napoleon Hill called this the major cause of failure, the inability to act on knowledge. He discovered that successful people weren't necessarily smarter or more talented, they simply possessed the remarkable ability to translate knowledge into immediate, persistent action. While others consumed information endlessly, the successful few implemented relentlessly. Look around you. We live in the most information-rich era in human history. Knowledge has never been more accessible. Yet most people remain stuck, perpetually preparing but never producing, constantly learning but never leveraging, forever planning but never performing. Why? Because knowledge without action isn't power, it's merely potential. And unrealized potential is the most painful form of failure. Ask yourself, how many books have you read without applying their wisdom? How many courses have you taken without implementing their strategies? How many ideas have you had without bringing them to life? The gap between what you know and what you do is not just a gap, it's a canyon that swallows dreams whole. The moment has come to bridge this divide. Will you continue to be one who knows but doesn't do? Or will you join the rare few who transform knowledge into immediate, decisive action? The first element of Napoleon Hill's most underrated habit is having a definite purpose, a single, focused objective that becomes the driving force behind everything you do. Not vague wishes, not someday dreams. A purpose so clear, so specific, and so compelling that it burns in your mind day and night. Without a definite purpose, your mind wanders. Your efforts scatter. Your energy dissipates across 1,000 different directions. You become like a ship without a rudder, drifting wherever the winds of circumstance blow you. Is it any wonder you feel exhausted, yet accomplished nothing of significance? Hill discovered that every single successful person he studied maintained an unwavering focus on their definite purpose. This wasn't just a goal written down once and forgotten. This was a mission that became part of their very identity, a single-minded obsession that filtered every decision, every action, and every response. Andrew Carnegie didn't just want to be successful in business. He crystallized his definite purpose with laser precision: to organize the world's first billion-dollar corporation through the steel industry. This definite purpose became his North Star, guiding every business decision, every partnership, and every investment. While others diluted their focus across multiple opportunities, Carnegie channeled all his mental and physical resources toward his one definite purpose. Thomas Edison didn't merely hope to be an inventor. His definite purpose was to create an electric light practical enough for home use. And he conducted over 10,000 experiments before succeeding. Each failure wasn't a defeat, but another step closer to his definite purpose. While others abandoned their pursuits at the first sign of difficulty, Edison's definite purpose gave him the persistence to continue where others surrendered. Your vague desires produce vague results. Your specific, burning, definite purpose produces specific, extraordinary outcomes. When you wake each morning without a definite purpose, you surrender your day to the agendas of others. You react rather than direct. You respond rather than create. Ask yourself now, what is your definite purpose? Not your 5-year plan, not your bucket list. What single achievement have you decided with absolute certainty must happen through your efforts? If your answer lacks the specificity and emotional intensity that would keep you awake at night with excitement, you haven't yet discovered your definite purpose. The power of a definite purpose isn't just psychological, it's neurological. When you focus on a single, compelling objective, your reticular activating system begins filtering reality through the lens of that purpose. Opportunities invisible to others become obvious to you. Resources previously unseen come into view. Connections between seemingly unrelated facts suddenly emerge. But here's the critical distinction most miss. A definite purpose isn't just what you want to achieve, it's what you've decided you must achieve, regardless of obstacles, circumstances, or opinions of others. It's not a preference. It's a non-negotiable commitment. Today, right now, you stand at a crossroads. Will you continue drifting through life with vague hopes and diluted focus? Or will you commit to the first element of success that Napoleon Hill discovered, a definite purpose that will magnetize your thoughts, organize your actions, and transform your reality? Knowledge alone remains sterile without the vital force of burning desire. This is the second element of Napoleon Hill's most underrated habit, the emotional fuel that converts purpose into unstoppable action. Not mild interest. Not casual preference. A desire so intense it consumes your thoughts and drives you forward against all resistance. Most people live in a perpetual state of lukewarm wanting. They kind of want success. They sort of want financial freedom. They pretty much want better health. This tepid emotional state produces exactly what you'd expect: tepid results. Burning desire is what separates the extraordinary from the ordinary, the exceptional from the average. When Edwin C. Barnes decided to partner with Thomas Edison, he faced an insurmountable obstacle. He had no money for train fare to meet Edison, no introduction, no relevant experience, and no apparent qualifications. What he did have was a burning desire not to work for Edison, but to work with him as a partner. This distinction is crucial. Most would have settled for employment. Barnes' burning desire demanded partnership. So intense was his desire that Barnes hopped a freight train and appeared before Edison, looking like a tramp. While others would have been deterred by their circumstances, Barnes' burning desire compelled him to take immediate action, despite having every logical reason to delay. Edison hired him for a menial position, but Barnes' burning desire never diminished. Years later, when Edison invented a dictating machine no one could sell, Barnes recognized the opportunity others missed and secured the national marketing rights. His burning desire made him a millionaire and Edison's partner, exactly as he had envisioned. Henry Ford's burning desire to create an affordable automobile for the average person wasn't extinguished by repeated business failures, lack of formal education, or the ridicule of experts who claimed his vision was impossible. When engineers told him his desired V8 engine couldn't be built, Ford simply said, "Produce it anyway." 6 months later, the impossible engine existed because Ford's burning desire would accept nothing less. Napoleon Hill discovered that this burning desire isn't just motivation, it's transformation. It alters your perception of obstacles. What others see as insurmountable barriers, you see as temporary challenges. What others experience as defeat, you experience as feedback. What would crush the spirit of the average person merely strengthens the resolve of someone with a burning desire. Ask yourself honestly, do you merely want your goals, or do you burn for them? Would you pursue your definite purpose, even if you faced 100 consecutive rejections? Would you continue if everyone around you predicted your failure? Would you persist if you had to start completely over multiple times? If you hesitated on any of these questions, you haven't yet developed the burning desire that success demands. The telltale sign of burning desire is that failure becomes impossible in your mind. You don't hope to succeed. You don't try to succeed. You've already decided that success is the only acceptable outcome, regardless of how many attempts it requires. This psychological certainty precedes physical reality. Right now, in this moment, you face a decision that will echo throughout your future. Will you continue nursing mild wants and preferences that fade at the first sign of difficulty? Or will you cultivate the burning desire that Napoleon Hill identified as essential for anyone who aspires to achievement beyond the ordinary? Knowledge, definite purpose, and burning desire still remain potential without the third element of Napoleon Hill's most underrated habit, unwavering persistence. This is where the masses universally fail. They start strong but surrender at the first significant obstacle. They mistake temporary defeat for permanent failure. They quit just steps before breakthrough. Persistence is not just continuing, it's continuing with the same intensity on your 1000th attempt as on your first. It's maintaining your action despite every logical reason to stop. It's the absolute refusal to accept defeat as final. And it's the quality Napoleon Hill found present in every single success story he studied over his 25 years of research. Most people dramatically underestimate what's required to succeed. They believe that if they don't achieve rapid results, something is wrong with their approach. But Hill discovered the opposite truth. The most valuable rewards in life are almost always guarded by the most persistent challenges. This is no accident. It's nature's way of reserving the greatest prizes for those who demonstrate they want them badly enough. Consider R.U. Darby's story from Napoleon Hill's writings. After weeks of back-breaking labor, Darby and his uncle discovered gold and invested in mining machinery. They extracted enough ore to cover their debts before the vein disappeared. After drilling unsuccessfully for days, they quit and sold their equipment to a junk dealer for a few $100s. That junk dealer hired a mining engineer who determined they had stopped just 3 feet from one of the richest gold veins ever found in Colorado. The junk dealer extracted millions because he persisted 3 feet further than Darby. Most people are living 3 feet from gold existences, abandoning their most promising opportunities just before breakthrough. They interpret temporary defeat as permanent failure rather than the test of persistence it truly is. They fail to recognize what Napoleon Hill called the strange and unreasoning fact that success lies just beyond the point where defeat had overtaken them. Colonel Sanders was rejected 1,009 times before someone accepted his chicken recipe. Thomas Edison failed in more than 10,000 experiments before creating the functional light bulb. Howard Schultz was rejected by 217 banks while trying to fund. Their persistence wasn't just admirable, it was the direct cause of their eventual success. Where others interpreted rejection as evidence they should quit, these individuals interpreted it merely as evidence they should continue. The question you must confront is this: where in your life are you currently 3 feet from gold? What pursuit have you abandoned that was on the verge of yielding extraordinary rewards? What goal did you surrender because progress wasn't happening as quickly as you expected? What dream have you filed away because the initial rejections bruised your ego? Persistence is not stubborn repetition of failed approaches. It's the intelligent pursuit of your objective with the flexibility to adjust your method, but the determination never to abandon your purpose. As Hill discovered, persistence often appears irrational to outside observers because the persistent individual continues long after all sensible people would have quit. Yet this irrational quality is precisely what separates extraordinary achievers from ordinary people. The most dangerous moment in any worthy pursuit is not the beginning, when enthusiasm is high, but the middle, what Seth Godin calls the dip, when progress slows, obstacles multiply, and the initial excitement fades. This is where persistence becomes not just important, but essential. This is where your response determines whether you join the masses who quit or the few who continue to break through. Right now, make this decision. Will you be among the majority who start strong but surrender at the first significant resistance? Or will you develop the rare quality of persistence that Napoleon Hill identified as the direct cause of all significant achievement? Even with knowledge, definite purpose, burning desire, and persistence, your power remains limited by your individual capabilities until you implement the fourth element of Napoleon Hill's most underrated habit, the mastermind. Alliance. This is perhaps his most misunderstood concept, yet one of his most powerful discoveries. The mastermind is not just networking. It's not casual relationship building. It's the deliberate creation of an alliance of minds focused on the achievement of a specific purpose. Hill defined it precisely: the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between two or more people, for the attainment of a definite purpose. What Napoleon Hill discovered through studying hundreds of supremely successful individuals was that no great achievement is ever the product of a single mind working in isolation. Every fortune, every innovation, every transformation happens through the combined intelligence and effort of multiple aligned minds. Henry Ford was not particularly well educated or technically skilled himself. His genius lay in creating a mastermind alliance of brilliant individuals whose combined talents he could direct toward his definite purpose. When a Chicago newspaper called Ford an ignorant pacifist, Ford sued for libel. During the trial, opposing attorneys tried proving Ford's ignorance by asking him technical questions about history and science. After several embarrassing moments, Ford finally replied, I could hire a young man with the answers to all your questions for $50 a week. Why should I clutter my mind with general knowledge when I have people around me who can supply any knowledge I need? This wasn't arrogance, it was the perfect demonstration of the mastermind principle. Ford understood that his greatest asset wasn't what he personally knew, but his ability to access and direct the knowledge of others toward his definite purpose. Andrew Carnegie attributed his entire fortune to his mastermind alliance. He deliberately surrounded himself with people who possessed knowledge and talents he lacked. When explaining his success to Napoleon Hill, Carnegie pointed to a dozen men who constituted his inner circle and said, "It was their minds, combined with my own, that built the Carnegie fortune." The mathematical power of the mastermind defies ordinary logic. When two minds come together in harmony for a specific purpose, they don't merely add their capabilities, they multiply them. The third mind that emerges, what Hill called the mastermind, possesses intelligence, insights, and creative power beyond what any member could access individually. Ask yourself, have you created a genuine mastermind alliance? Not casual networking, not social media connections. A deliberate alliance of minds specifically chosen for their ability to help you achieve your definite purpose. If not, you're attempting success in the hardest, slowest way possible through your limited individual resources. Most people fail to create true mastermind alliances for two reasons. First, their egos resist admitting they need others. Second, they fail to realize that the mastermind operates on the principle of mutual benefit. You must bring value equal to what you seek to extract. The mastermind is not exploitation, it's strategic cooperation, where each member advances faster together than they could separately. Look at any area where you're currently struggling. The solution likely exists in the mind of someone else, someone whose knowledge, experience, or connections could provide exactly what you lack. Your success is not limited by what you don't know or can't do. It's limited by your failure to ally yourself with those who possess what you need. The moment has arrived to make this critical choice. Will you continue struggling alone, limited by your individual capacity? Or will you implement Napoleon Hill's mastermind principle and multiply your effectiveness through strategic alliance with other powerful minds? Knowledge, purpose, desire, persistence, and masterminds still constitute only potential power without the fifth element of Napoleon Hill's most underrated habit, emotional transmutation. This is his most profound, yet least discussed, discovery, the alchemical process of converting negative emotions into productive power. Most people become prisoners of their emotional states. Anger derails them. Fear paralyzes them. Disappointment deflates them. Successful individuals, Hill discovered, developed the remarkable ability to transmute these negative emotions into fuel for achievement. They didn't eliminate emotions, they transformed them. This transmutation is not positive thinking. It's not affirmations. It's the deliberate redirection of emotional energy from destructive to constructive channels. It's turning the fire of anger into the force of determination. It's converting the energy of fear into heightened awareness and preparation. It's transforming the ache of disappointment into the resolve to improve. Thomas Edison returned home one night to discover his laboratory containing years of research and prototypes in flames. As the fire raged, consuming his life's work, Edison calmly told his son, "Go get your mother. She'll never see another fire like this again." The next morning, standing amid the smoking ruins, the 67-year-old Edison said, "There is great value in disaster. All our mistakes are burned up. Thank God we can start anew." Within 3 weeks, he delivered his first phonograph. Most would have been crushed by such catastrophic loss. Edison transmuted what could have been devastating grief and despair into immediate, productive action. He didn't deny the negative emotions, he transformed them. Helen Keller, born blind and deaf, could have surrendered to bitterness and self-pity. Instead, she transmuted these natural reactions into the emotional fuel that drove her to become one of history's most inspiring figures, writing 12 books and advocating tirelessly for others with disabilities. She didn't suppress her frustration, she redirected its energy. Napoleon Hill himself faced bankruptcy at age 50, losing everything he had built. Rather than succumbing to despair, he transmuted this devastating setback into the driving force behind completing Think and Grow Rich, the book that would ultimately reach over 100 million readers. His temporary defeat became the catalyst for his greatest achievement precisely because he mastered emotional transmutation. Look at your own emotional landscape honestly. How much productive energy do you lose to uncontrolled negative emotions? How often do setbacks derail you for days rather than fuel you forward? How frequently do you allow fear to restrict your actions rather than sharpen your preparation? This is the invisible barrier most never overcome. The process of transmutation begins with emotional awareness, recognizing negative emotions as they arise. It continues with acceptance, acknowledging these emotions without judgment. It culminates in redirection, channeling this emotional energy toward productive action rather than destructive reaction. Hill discovered that sexual energy, being the most powerful human drive, contained tremendous creative potential when properly transmuted. The same force that drives physical desire can, when redirected, fuel artistic creation, business innovation, and personal transformation. This isn't repression, it's redirection of energy toward your definite purpose. You stand now at another decision point. Will you remain at the mercy of your emotional states, rising and falling with every circumstance? Or will you master Napoleon Hill's principle of emotional transmutation, converting life's inevitable challenges into the very fuel that propels you toward your definite purpose? Even with all previous elements in place, Napoleon Hill discovered that success remained elusive for many, because they failed to implement the sixth element of his most underrated habit: deliberate subconscious programming. This is where you bridge the gap between conscious intention and automatic action. Your subconscious mind controls approximately 95% of your behavior, decisions, and responses. It's the autopilot that runs your life while your conscious mind is occupied elsewhere. Most people leave this immensely powerful system completely unmanaged, allowing it to form habits and patterns based on random environmental programming rather than deliberate choice. Hill recognized that truly successful individuals took complete responsibility for programming their subconscious mind. They understood that thought patterns repeated with emotional intensity eventually sink into the subconscious, where they become automatic drivers of behavior. The subconscious doesn't distinguish between actual experience and vividly imagined experience, it simply accepts whatever is presented with sufficient repetition and emotion. W. Clement Stone, protege of Napoleon Hill, grew his insurance company from $100 to over $800 million by mastering this principle. Stone programmed his subconscious through constant repetition of the phrase, "Do it now." He made it his personal mantra, saying it 50 times each morning and evening. Eventually, taking immediate action became his automatic response pattern, no willpower required. His subconscious simply executed what had been programmed. Jack Canfield, co-creator of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, was initially rejected by 144 publishers. rather than allowing these rejections to program defeat into his subconscious. He deliberately visualized his book's success daily. He created a mock-up of the New York Times bestseller list with his book at number 1 and reviewed it each morning and evening with intense emotion. This deliberate programming eventually manifested in over 500 million books sold worldwide. Your subconscious accepts whatever you repeatedly tell it, especially when accompanied by strong emotion and vivid imagery. This isn't mystical, it's neurological. Repeated patterns of thought create neural pathways that become your default responses. Most people unconsciously program limitation, doubt, and fear because these are the thought patterns they repeatedly review with emotion. Hill discovered that successful individuals program their subconscious through 5 specific channels: autosuggestion, verbal statements repeated with emotion, visualization, mental images held with clarity and feeling environment, strategic control of surroundings and influences, association, selective relationships with those who reinforce desired patterns, physical state, management of posture, movement, and physiology. Ask yourself, what are you currently programming into your subconscious? What thoughts do you repeat most frequently with emotion? What mental images do you review most often? Whatever these are, positive or negative, they are being installed as your automatic operating system. Most people inadvertently sabotage themselves by ruminating on past failures, worrying about potential problems, or reviewing reasons why success might be difficult. Each emotionally charged repetition deepens these patterns in the subconscious, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of limitation. The solution isn't trying harder with conscious willpower. It's reprogramming the subconscious so the desired behaviors become your automatic default. When properly programmed, your subconscious becomes an ally that drives you toward your definite purpose, even when conscious motivation wavers. This moment presents another crucial choice. Will you continue allowing random circumstances to program your most powerful mental system? Or will you implement Napoleon Hill's discovery by taking full responsibility for deliberately programming your subconscious toward your definite purpose? Knowledge, purpose, desire, persistence, masterminds, emotional transmutation, and subconscious programming still require the 7th element of Napoleon Hill's most underrated habit to reach full potency: unwavering faith. This isn't religious faith, though it can include it. This is the absolute belief in the attainment of your desire before any physical evidence supports it. Most people believe only what their senses confirm. They need to see evidence before they'll believe in a possibility. Hill discovered that exceptional achievers reversed this process completely. They believed with certainty first, and this unshakable belief actually helped produce the physical evidence later. Faith wasn't the result of achievement, it was the cause. Mahatma Gandhi had no armies, no political office, no wealth, and no obvious power. Yet, his unwavering faith in the principle of non-violent resistance enabled him to bring the British Empire to the negotiating table and ultimately gain India's independence. When asked how he accomplished this seemingly impossible feat, Gandhi replied, "First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win." His faith never wavered despite years without visible progress. Henry Ford was laughed at by engineers when he insisted on creating a V8 engine cast in a single block. The experts unanimously declared it impossible. Ford simply said, "Produce it anyway." When his engineers protested, he replied, "Go ahead. Stay on the job until you succeed, no matter how much time is required." After months of failure, they finally succeeded precisely because Ford's faith never wavered in the face of seemingly insurmountable obstacles. Napoleon Hill distinguished between two types of faith: passive faith and active faith. Passive faith is mere hoping, wishing for an outcome, while internally doubting its possibility. Active faith is knowing, maintaining absolute certainty, despite all contradictory evidence. It's the difference between saying, "I hope this works, and this must work, and therefore it will." The power of faith isn't mystical, it's practical. When you maintain unwavering faith in your definite purpose, several tangible things happen. You perceive opportunities invisible to those with doubt. You persist through obstacles that stop others completely. Your subconscious organizes your resources toward your objective. You inspire confidence in others who can help you. You take actions with the boldness that success requires. Ask yourself honestly, do you genuinely believe in the achievement of your definite purpose? Not hope for it, not wish for it. Do you know with certainty it will manifest? If doubt exists within you, you haven't yet developed the faith that Hill identified as essential for significant achievement. Most people's faith wavers with circumstances. When conditions are favorable, their belief rises. When obstacles appear, their belief falls. This fluctuating faith produces fluctuating results. The exceptional individual maintains consistent faith regardless of temporary conditions, understanding that unwavering belief is what eventually bends circumstances to their advantage. Faith is not passive waiting. It's active certainty that inspires immediate, bold action. As Hill wrote, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." The sequence is critical. Conception leads to belief, which leads to achievement. Most people can conceive great possibilities, but fail to genuinely believe in them, and therefore never achieve them. Now you face another pivotal decision. Will you continue with conditional faith that rises and falls with circumstances? Or will you develop the unwavering belief that Napoleon Hill discovered at the core of every extraordinary achievement? All previous elements come together in the eighth component of Napoleon Hill's most underrated habit: vibrational alignment between your conscious desires and your internal states. This is his most profound discovery, yet one he struggled to articulate fully given the scientific limitations of his era. Hill described it as your mental attitude or your emotional frequency. But modern neuroscience offers clearer language: congruence. This is the alignment between your conscious goals and your unconscious beliefs, emotions, and identity. When incongruence exists, internal sabotage inevitably follows. Your conscious mind may desire success, while deeper layers of your psyche resist it. Most people experience perpetual internal conflict. They consciously pursue goals, while unconsciously fearing the changes those goals would bring. They verbally affirm desires, while emotionally doubting their worthiness to receive them. They intellectually commit to actions, while identity-level beliefs quietly undermine their efforts. Hill discovered that extraordinary achievers operated from complete congruence. Their conscious desires, unconscious beliefs, emotional states, and identity-level convictions all aligned perfectly toward their definite purpose. This vibrational harmony created an internal state so powerful that external circumstances eventually reorganized to match it. Albert Einstein conceptualized the theory of relativity not through conscious analysis, but in what he called a storm of thought while playing violin. His vibrational state, a harmonic blend of music, emotion, and contemplation, created the perfect internal conditions for breakthrough. When asked how he discovered relativity, Einstein said, "I didn't discover it, I just knew it." Nikola Tesla visualized his inventions in complete operational detail before building a single component. He maintained a vibrational state of such perfect clarity that the gap between imagination and implementation nearly disappeared. The idea came like a flash of lightning, Tesla wrote, and in an instant, the truth was revealed. You've experienced glimpses of this congruence yourself, moments when your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and actions aligned perfectly. In these states of flow, progress seemed effortless. Obstacles dissolved before they fully formed. Solutions appeared spontaneously. These weren't coincidences, they were demonstrations of vibrational alignment. Most people experience occasional alignment by accident. Hill discovered that extraordinary achievers created this alignment by design. They deliberately cultivated thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and physical states that matched their definite purpose. They understood that external achievement always follows internal alignment. The practical application begins with awareness, noticing when your internal states contradict your stated goals. Do you claim to want wealth while harboring resentment toward the wealthy? Do you pursue growth while secretly fearing the responsibility it would bring? Do you seek recognition while believing you don't truly deserve it? These incongruences create the invisible self-sabotage that blocks most people from their desires. Alignment occurs when you systematically identify and resolve these internal conflicts. You reprogram limiting beliefs. You transmute contradictory emotions. You evolve your identity to match your aspirations. This isn't positive thinking, it's internal integration at every level of your being. Here you face perhaps the most important choice of all. Will you continue pursuing external goals while ignoring the internal alignment they require? Or will you master Napoleon Hill's principle of vibrational congruence, creating an internal state so powerful that your external reality has no choice but to transform? We've now arrived at the essence of Napoleon Hill's most underrated habit, the single factor he discovered that separated the extraordinary from the ordinary: immediate, decisive action. Not planning to act, not preparing to act, not waiting for perfect conditions to act, but acting now, in this moment, despite every reason to delay. This final element is where virtually everyone fails. They absorb knowledge without applying it. They set goals without pursuing them. They make plans without executing them. They wait for conditions that never arrive. They prepare endlessly but produce nothing. And in this gap between knowing and doing, between intention and action, their dreams quietly die. Napoleon Hill called procrastination the graveyard of opportunity. He discovered that successful individuals weren't necessarily those with the best ideas, the most knowledge, or even the greatest talents. They were simply those who developed the habit of taking immediate action on their ideas, knowledge, and talents. When Cornelius Vanderbilt saw opportunity in steamboat transportation, he didn't just recognize it intellectually, he immediately secured the capital to purchase his first boat. While others debated the viability of steam power, Vanderbilt acted. This pattern of immediate action eventually made him one of America's first millionaires. When J. Rowling conceived the idea for Harry Potter, she didn't just think it was promising, she began writing immediately, despite being a single mother on welfare. While others with similar creative potential waited for better conditions, Rowling acted. This pattern of immediate action eventually produced a literary empire worth billions. The world is filled with brilliant, talented people who recognize opportunities but fail to act on them promptly. They rationalize delay with countless justifications. I need more information. The timing isn't quite right. I should wait until I have more resources. I'll start when things settle down. These seemingly reasonable delays compound into permanent inaction. Most people don't recognize the astronomical cost of delay. Small actions taken immediately often yield greater results than perfect actions taken too late. Opportunities have expiration dates. Markets evolve. Conditions change. The window that stands open today may close permanently tomorrow. Hill discovered that successful people developed one crucial mental habit. They conditioned themselves to feel uncomfortable with inaction. Where others felt anxiety about moving forward amid uncertainty, these exceptional few trained themselves to feel greater discomfort with not taking action. They recognized delay as the true risk. The psychology is simple but profound. Action creates momentum, clarity, and feedback. Movement generates energy that overcomes inertia. Experience provides information no amount of planning can reveal. Results, ever imperfect ones, offer guidance for adjustment. But none of these benefits materialize until you move from contemplation to action. This moment right now, as you read these words, is a decision point. Will you continue the pattern of knowing without doing? Will you add these insights to your collection of unrealized knowledge? Or will you implement Napoleon Hill's most critical discovery by taking immediate, decisive action toward your definite purpose? The action needed isn't necessarily dramatic. Often it's a small but significant step that breaks the paralysis of inaction. One phone call, one application, one conversation, 1 hour dedicated to your most important project. But it must be now, after you finish reading, not tomorrow morning. Not when conditions improve. Now, the moment of truth has arrived. You can continue reading these words as just another interesting piece of content that will soon be forgotten. Or you can let them penetrate deeply into your soul, marking the exact instant when you decided never again to be hostage to your own limitations. The difference between these two choices isn't just what you'll do in the next few minutes, but who you'll become in the next few years. What will it be? When Napoleon Hill completed his 25-year study of success, he discovered something remarkable. The difference between those who achieved extraordinary results and those who remained average wasn't intelligence, education, connections, or luck. It was a single habit: their ability to translate knowledge into immediate, persistent action, guided by a definite purpose and fueled by burning desire. This habit isn't flashy. It isn't complex. It doesn't require special talents or resources. But it does demand something few are willing to give: the courage to act decisively in the face of uncertainty, to persist through inevitable setbacks, and to maintain unwavering faith in the achievement of your purpose, despite all contradictory evidence. You now possess the exact formula Napoleon Hill uncovered, the most underrated habit that separates failures from those who win. You understand the principles that transformed ordinary individuals into Carnegie, Ford, Edison, and countless others who shaped the modern world. The only question that remains is, will you join them? The decision you make in this moment will echo through every dimension of your future. It will determine not just what you accomplish, but who you become. It will establish not just your results, but your legacy. Choose wisely. Choose immediately. Choose action.